Teisha Bader with Shalom TV's news update for Tuesday, August the 27th, 2013. As talk of possible military intervention in Syria increases, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu held urgent security consultations in Tel Aviv this afternoon, after which he reiterated that Israel was, quote, prepared for any eventuality. While stressing that Israel was not involved in the Syrian civil war, Netanyahu said that if Israel detects any attempt at all to attack it, he said, quote, we will respond and we will respond fiercely. The White House stated today that President Obama met with Australian Prime Minister Kevin Rudd yesterday to discuss possible international responses to the Syrian crisis and specifically to Syrian President Assad's alleged use of chemical weapons last week against his own people. White House spokesman Jay Carney said the president and his team are evaluating options with regards to responses to the specific violation of an international norm, the prohibited use of chemical weapons against civilian populations. Carney said a military response is among the options under consideration, and CBS News reported that the president ordered a declassified report be prepared for public release, which some say could provide legal justification for a military strike in Syria should the president choose to order one. NBC News reports that missile strikes against Syria could happen as early as this Thursday. NBC cited senior U.S. officials in that report who said today that the White House has intensified its push towards an international response to Syria's suspected use of chemical warfare. U.S. officials told NBC that there would be 3 days of strikes, limited in scope, aimed more at sending a message to Assad rather than degrading his military capabilities. Meanwhile, Reuters reports, citing a senior administration official today, that President Obama has not made any decision to order military strikes against the Syrian government. Syria has warned that any military intervention on the part of the U.S. in the crisis would place Israel in its crosshairs. And a delegation of Israeli officials met today with U.S. National Security Advisor Susan Rice at the White House. The delegation, headed by Chairman of Israel's National Security Council, Yaakov Amidjor, also included Defense Ministry official Amos Gilad, head of the IDF Planning Division, Major General Nimrod Shefer, and head of research at the Military Intelligence, Brigadier General Itai Baron. The group met with Rice as part of a regular series of consultations and addressed several issues of concern, including Iran, Egypt, and the escalating civil war in Syria. And the Anti-Defamation League yesterday released a statement expressing their outrage at Syrian President Assad's reported use of chemical weapons and welcomed the U.S.'s commitment to hold those responsible accountable. ADL National Director Abe Foxman said, as Jews, we are particularly sickened by the images of unarmed and defenseless men, women, and children who were indiscriminately targeted for death by toxic chemical weapons made and stockpiled by the Syrian government. Foxman said the world failed to act during the Holocaust and stood by through genocides in Cambodia and Rwanda. He said it was a moral imperative that the international community act now to prevent further atrocities in Syria. In yet another price tag attack, the tires of up to 10 cars were slashed, some license plates removed, and hateful graffiti was spray painted on cars near the Jerusalem Arab neighborhood of Beit Safafa overnight last night. This is the most recent incident in a series of attacks of nationalistic vandalism. Price tag attacks like these are thought to be the work of extremist right-wing Jews who are protesting policies of the Israeli government or avenging Palestinian attacks. Israel police are investigating the incident. After recent similar incidents in the Arab neighborhood of Abu Ghosh in early July, an Israeli cabinet decision was taken that significantly expanded investigation capabilities and legal steps available to Israeli security forces in fighting those responsible for such attacks of hate. Responding to last night's incident, Knesset Speaker Yuli Edelstein of the Likud party condemned the vandalism, saying, "I'm saddened over the fact that today, too, we awoke to an act of vandalism, this time in Beit Safafa. This is a group of outlandish people who are trying to hinder unity and coexistence," he said. "We won't let these criminals disrupt life in Israel." An investigation commissioned by Yeshiva University into reports of sexual abuse at the school released a report yesterday confirming multiple incidents. The investigation being carried out by the New York-based law firm of Sullivan and Cromwell follows reports of sexual abuse that allegedly took place during the 1970s and 80s by two faculty members at YU's High School for Boys. The report confirmed that multiple incidents of varying types of sexual and physical abuse took place at the school, perpetrated by individuals in positions of authority, and that the abuse continued even after members of the administration had been made aware of them. The investigation also found sexual abuse at other divisions of the university, but citing pending litigation, couldn't describe them in any detail or specify where they took place. The report said up until 2001, there were multiple instances in which the university either failed to appropriately act to protect the safety of its students or did not respond to the allegations at all. Further stating this lack of an appropriate response by the university caused victims to believe that their complaints fell on deaf ears or were simply not believed by the university's administration. YU President Richard Joel said yesterday in response to the report, "There are findings set forth in this report that serve as a source of profound shame and sadness for our institution." He said, "On behalf of the Board of Trustees and the entire university community, I express my deepest and most heartfelt remorse and truly hope that our recognition of these issues provides some level of comfort and closure to the victims." Joel said YU remains committed to making confidential counseling services available to those victims of the abuse in the hope they can achieve a more peaceful future. Israel was ranked 4th in a list of countries with the most efficient healthcare system. The new ranking issued by Bloomberg.com ranked countries on the criteria of life expectancy, relative of percentage of gross domestic product per capita cost of health insurance, and the absolute per capita cost of healthcare. Hong Kong, Singapore, and Japan took the top 3 spots in the rankings. Israel came next, the UK came in 14th, Canada 17th, Iran 45th, and the United States 46th. According to the rankings, Israel's life expectancy is 81.8 years, the longest in the Middle East and Africa, and healthcare costs per capita were calculated at $2,426. Americans were reported to have a life expectancy of 78.6 years, with healthcare costs over $8,600. Over 2 million school children headed back to school today in Israel for the first day of the new academic year. Israeli Education Minister Shai Piron said strengthening public education, advancing organizational goals, promoting special education, and easing the burden of cost for parents were among the new goals for the new school year.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we kick off the show with Tom Jones.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. It's not unusual to have fun with anyone. But when I see you hanging about with anyone, it's not unusual to see me cry. I wanna die.
Ynet reports that the Consul for Public Affairs at the Israel Consulate wants to make sure that Welsh superstar singer Tom Jones knows that he is wanted and loved in Israel. On Friday, Gil Lehner sent out an email saying that over the past few weeks, Jones, who's set to perform in Israel next month, is being targeted by the BDS, or Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions movement, and being pressured to cancel his show in Israel. Lehner's email, titled "It's Not Unusual to Be Loved by Israel," read, "Over the past few weeks, Tom Jones has become the latest victim of a fringe campaign pushing for a boycott of Israel, which bullies artists and academics from coming to Israel. It is time to tell Tom Jones that no music fan should be punished because of the agenda of online bullies." Lehner encouraged the public to send positive messages of love and support to Jones on his Facebook and Twitter pages with the hashtag Israel Loves Tom Jones. He said the community has done a great job over the last few months telling the truth about these anti-Israel campaigns and dissecting and dismantling their argument for boycotts. Jones, who has not shown any sign of caving to BDS pressure, is set to perform at Tel Aviv's Nokia Arena a month from today. And finally today, another original Israeli television show has gotten the green light for the production of an American version to hit the small screen here in the U.S. The ABC television network purchased the rights to Israel's top-rated TV series Bilti Hafich, or Irreversible, which follows the lives of a young couple and the changes that occur after the birth of their first daughter. The pilot episode will be developed by series co-creator Sigal Avin, a co-executive producer of the U.S. series, along with American TV and film producer Peter Tolan, according to the Deadline Hollywood website. This latest U.S. acquisition comes after the success of Showtime's Homeland and CBS's Hostages, both based on Israeli dramas. And that's Shalom TV's news update for Tuesday, August the 27th, 2013. I'm Teisha Bader.